Yes, welcome, guys. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to another episode of DFJ Hoops. Got a great show for y'all today. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. Salute to my guy. Um, salute to my guy, the regular one mic in the building. Appreciate you, bro. Appreciate you. Says salute, bro. Keep them coming. We'll always support. Appreciate you, bro. Appreciate you. Smash that like button as y'all come in. Smash that like button as y'all come in. Got an interesting topic today. Got a great show, great live. Um, First of all, let me briefly say this, right? To the second round in the Western Conference, congratulations to the Oklahoma City Thunder for advancing to the Western Conference Finals. Now, before the season started, I already had the Thunder in the conference finals. I had them in the conference finals, and I just said it was them and anybody else. So they'll be taking on the Minnesota Timberwolves. So that'll definitely be a great series. But first of all, salute to SGA for a great performance in Game 7. Wasn't really expecting it, but he proved that he's that dude. He's that guy, and he's really learned from Kobe and MJ. So salute to SGA, salute to the Thunder, and all the supporting cast. Right, the head coach as well has done a great job with this unit. Back-to-back seasons, first seed. That's very very great. Right, so salute to them. Now, let me just get into my topic. Salute to anybody watching. Salute to y'all for tuning in. Just smash that like button as y'all come in. Smash that like button. But a report came out today, and it was very, very interesting. Right, a report came out today, very, very interesting. Now, there's been rumors over the last few days, and this report kind of proves it. Now, nothing is truth. Now, we're not saying this is absolutely truth, but there's a little bit of truth to every rumor, right? I think that people should keep that in the back of their heads. There's a little bit of truth to every rumor. But a report came out today that says that the Sixers might be looking to move the third overall pick that they just got in this year's draft. They might be moving that pick in another. Yeah, sorry about that. But basically what I was saying is that a report just came out that is very, very interesting. So I'm gonna put the report right on the screen and I'm gonna read it and we gonna all go through it. Now I'm not gonna read the whole article, but just an excerpt of it and we can break everything down right here. So the report should be on the screen right there. Right. So it says some teams expect the Sixers to consider using the number 3 overall pick to swap Paul George for Kevin Durant, right? Because the Sixers used the number 3 overall pick in the 2025 NBA draft to get out from the Paul George remaining contract. Now, this was written by Adam Arrington from the Philly Voice staff. So shout out to him. Shout out to him. Does an incredible job. There are opposing NBA teams expecting the Sixers to pursue trade opportunities with the number 3 overall pick in the 2025 NBA draft. ESPN's Jonathan Givney reported Monday morning in a new mock draft right? According to Givney, those teams view the framework of a potential deal as something involving Paul George and the premium selection going to another team in exchange for a star player, including 15-time All-Star Kevin Durant, who appears almost certain to be traded from the Phoenix Suns this summer. Now, this is exactly what he said. Some teams expect the Sixers to be active in trade conversations with names such as Kevin Durant from the Phoenix Suns and Lauri Markkanen from the Utah Jazz as potential targets in packages that could include Paul George and the number 3 overall pick. Sixers president of basketball operations Daryl Morey has made a career of being active and aggressive on trade front, but historically it is rare to see a top 3 pick being traded. Right? So that's what I'm going to read to. I'm not going to go through the whole thing. No, I'm not going to go through the whole article, but let's break it down. So basically, it is being rumored that the Sixers might possibly try to get out of the Paul George contract because Paul George has 3 more years left on his contract, right? The first season is done, and he has 3 more seasons. I mean, let's be real, it's 2 more seasons, but the last year is an optional year, which Paul George will be 38 years old at that time. So it's wise to think that he will definitely opt into that contract, right? But so, long story short, the Sixers could possibly be looking to get out of that contract by trading Paul George and the 3 overall pick or the number 3 overall pick, which people are rumored or it has been being rumored that or being projected that Ace Bailey might get drafted. But the 2 star players that the Sixers are possibly looking at is Kevin Durant from the Phoenix Suns, and the second person is Lauri Markkanen from the Utah Jazz. Now, I'm gonna talk about Kevin Durant. I'm gonna start with KD, but let me get the article off the screen. And yeah, so right here, um, that's what the Sixers are looking at: either Lauri Markkanen or Kevin Durant. Now, let me start with Kevin Durant. Now, KD, we all know KD's a great player, right? He's in year 18, right? In year 18, still playing great. I think he still put up from last season at his numbers. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I am most certain that he probably put up more than 25 points per game. So even in year 18, Kevin Durant is still elite, still the great scorer that he is, right? A threat from any spot on the floor, from the 3-point line, at the basket, at the mid range, corner three, wing, top of the key. He's still great, right? Now, when KD got traded to the Phoenix Suns, like people expected Phoenix to do something special and potentially even get over the hump, but it hasn't really been that way ever since he's been there. The first year when he got there, he dealt with injuries. He was injured before he got traded, and once he got traded and was ready to make his debut for the Phoenix Suns, he also got hurt again. So he dealt with a lot of injuries that first year. Now they were able to get to the second round, but unfortunately, Nikola Jokic, when they faced the Denver Nuggets in the second round, Nikola Jokic had better plans, better ideas as he destroyed the Phoenix Suns. Now KD and Devin Booker put up a fight, but it was just not enough to overcome what Nikola Jokic and the Denver Nuggets were doing. So it just wasn't enough. So they get eliminated in the second round. And then the next 2 seasons, they were the 6th seed. They got swept in the first round by the Minnesota Timberwolves, and the Timberwolves ended up going to the Western Conference Finals, right? And then his third season, we all know what happened to Phoenix this year, as they did not make the playoffs. They didn't even get to the play-in, right? So that's everything that happened with KD. But KD, his tenure with Phoenix, even though Phoenix was not great as a team, or Phoenix did not accomplish the goal that they didn't accomplish the goal that they was looking for in terms of winning the championship. I think KD was still an elite player, right? He was still great he was still great. He was still elite. Making all-star teams, putting up good numbers on very, very good efficiency. Considering his age and the season that he was in the NBA, right? Salute to my guy Humble. Appreciate you, Humble. Appreciate you for stopping by, bro. Salute to my guy Rap Guy Reloaded. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. Humble says, y'all be good with Lauri. They both just want to hoop, no media, but Lauri would embrace Philly over Kevin Durant, in my opinion. Yeah, appreciate you. Appreciate that comment. Philly, Rap Guy Reloaded says Philly needs Lauri Markkanen because he's younger and has more years left in the NBA. Yeah, I agree, which we're going to get to it, right? But so as I was saying, KD still has elite seasons with Phoenix, but the result has not been what they expected. And you would think that them having Bradley Beal and Devin Booker, they would be much better as a team and probably do something special in the Western Conference. But it hasn't been the case, as those players have dealt with injuries. KD's dealt with a ton of injuries. People forget Phoenix was one of the best teams in the Western Conference before KD went down, and once he came back, the team just could not get into any rhythm whatsoever, right? But the point that I'm making is that KD was still an elite player. He was still putting up great numbers, great scoring numbers, and him playing the power forward position, he was a pretty good power forward, right? People would still rank him top 5, as far as power forwards go. People will rank him with LeBron, Jason Tatum, and just to name a few power forwards. I mean, Giannis, obviously, right? But KD has still been a great player. Now, how will Kevin Durant fit on the Sixers if the Sixers probably trade for him? Me personally, like Humble and my guy Rap got reloaded are saying in the comment section, smash that like button as y'all come in. KD will, he obviously help the Sixers in terms of offensively because the Sixers last season they were not really a good offensive team, right? So if you swap Paul George and you put Kevin Durant on your team, I mean, yeah, KD will definitely give you some elite scoring numbers, right? Yeah, sorry about that, y'all. But if you swap Kevin Durant, if you swap Paul George for KD, I mean, KD will still, put up good numbers, good scoring numbers. Your team's offense will run very, very good. But as a team, I don't think at this point in Kevin Durant's career, I don't think he's really that caliber of player anymore. He's not as good as he once was. I mean, if you look at his Golden State Warriors years, I mean, those were the elite Kevin Durant seasons, and he was able to get Golden State over the hump, help them win multiple championships. But I don't think he's that caliber of player anymore. Yeah, he can still put up numbers, but the effectiveness, the impact on winning has not really been there. And because of that, I don't really think it would be a smart idea or a smart choice for the Sixers to trade, Paul George and, the number 3 overall pick for a Kevin Durant. Yeah, if you bring him over, yeah, he's still going to put up his numbers. He'll make the All-Star team and possibly even make the All NBA team and be in the running for scoring title because he's always going to put up great numbers, great scoring numbers, right? 25, 26, or 27 points per game. But his impact on winning has not really been there, and he also has some injury concerns as well, right? Now, if you trade Paul George for Kevin Durant, now you're trading Paul George, who is already old and also dealing with a ton of injuries. You're trading that for another player who's also much older than Paul George and also has his fair share of injuries, right? Because both players have dealt with injuries. Like I said, KD with the MCL injury, hamstring injuries, you name it, right? MCL, ankle injuries. I was listening to an interview that he did a few months ago, and he was saying that he has a couple screws in his foot, right? So he's injured. He's dealing with injuries, right? He's dealing with injuries. He's going to be a year older this year, right? I think his birthday is in August. So trading Paul George for Kevin Durant is not going to be wise. Yeah, KD is going to get his numbers, make the All-Star team, like I said, possibly even be in the scoring race. But in terms of him helping you win a championship, I don't think it's going to be the best fit, right? Now, obviously, Kevin Durant is a much better player than both players that I have on the screen, right? I think KD is better than Paul George, and he's way better than Lauri Markkanen. But I think in situations like this, you should go for the best fit and not the best player. And having KD here is not the Sixers need scoring, but they need something that's much more than scoring, right? They need rebounding, they need like grit, they need toughness, they need size and length, right? And KD brings that, but he's not going to bring it to the level at which the Sixers need. Now the scoring is there, like I just said, but the other things is really what the Sixers need, and I don't think KD is going to provide that. But KD is still a great player, right? Still a great player. No matter what team he ends up on, he's definitely going to help that team's offense. But in terms of helping them compete or contend for a championship, I don't see it. And I've heard, some rumors. I've heard KD being linked to other teams, like the Clippers, right? Believe it or not, I've seen a few Clipper content creators making a case for KD or making a case for the Clippers to trade for Kevin Durant because they believe that Kevin Durant can help their team's offense, right? Because the Clippers offense wasn't as good from last season, right? As they were bottom 5 or bottom 10 in offense, right? They had great defense, but the offense was not really up to par. So, which I mean, it does make sense, right? If you couple, KD with Kawhi Leonard, your team is going to be much better. But I mean, the health is what I'm concerned with because both players are, I don't want to use the term injury prone, but both players, tend to deal with injuries year in and year out. And I don't think that'll be a best situation possible for the Clippers, right? But it does look good on paper, but you got to put them on the court and see what they look like. And I've also, heard KD linked to other teams like the Detroit Pistons, believe it or not. And this morning I just saw somebody making the argument that the the Denver Nuggets should make a run for Kevin Durant, right? The Denver Nuggets should possibly look to move Michael Porter Jr. and a few picks. I don't know what the pick situation is looking like, but some people were making the argument that the Nuggets should move MPJ and a few picks for Kevin Durant, which they do. Yeah, it does. It sounds good because the Denver Nuggets offense, sometimes it gets stagnant. But if you add KD to Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic, that's a very, very good team, in my opinion. Very, very good team, along with Aaron Gordon and Christian Brown. It's going to be a good team, right? So, but we already expect KD to get traded this season from the Phoenix Suns. What team is he going to end up on? We don't know that. We don't know that right now. But KD, possibly, it could be possible that the Sixers trade for KD because we know Daryl Morey's track record, right? Trades or signs, star caliber players to any team that he's on. So it's not going to be surprising. But me personally, I don't agree with this move. If you're going to trade Paul George, at least trade him for a younger player. If you're going to trade Paul George and the number 3 overall pick, it should be for a much younger player or a younger experienced player that's going to help you in a long term. I don't think KD has a 2-3 year window, in my opinion. And I don't think he's going to be playing at a very, very high level in the next few years, right? He's still putting up great numbers right now, but how sustainable is it? How often is he going to play? What's the injury situation looking like? You got to factor all of this thing, all these things in. And he's going to be in year 19 next season, so that should also be factored in. If we complain about Paul George's health and how old he is, I mean, Kevin Durant is much older and is also dealing with his fair share of injuries. Salute to my guy Cheyenne in the building. Appreciate you, bro. Says salute DFJ. Salute. He says Philly needs to send Podcast P and Joel Cry Beach straight to the Shanghai Shark. Bro, y'all funny, man. Yeah, it's funny. But yeah, appreciate you, bro. And I appreciate my guy Tuning Sports too. He says just draft a player, bro. Shaking my head. Yeah, I mean, I would agree with that too. I don't think trading for players is that necessary. I think, I would go with, drafting a younger player too. But let's move on to Lauri Markkanen, right? Lauri Markkanen and TuneIn Sports, I don't know, for whatever reason, has some level of hatred towards Lauri Markkanen. I mean, this guy just wants to play basketball, right? He doesn't care about the media. Not really a flashy player. You don't really see him on social media like that. All he wants to do is play basketball. But for whatever reason, TuneIn Sports has some hatred towards him. I don't know why, but but Lauri Markkanen is a player who I've been a fan of over the past few seasons, past few years. Lauri Markkanen, when he got to the Utah Jazz that first season, I think he made the All-Star team, won the Most Improved Player of the Year, and I always felt like he had a ton of upside. Right, I always felt like he had potential as an overall power forward. Now, sometimes he does play the small forward, depending on the players on the team or on the roster. But, he's 6'8". Now, he's 6'9", 6'10", 6'11", depending on who you ask. I saw in the report that they were saying he was 7 foot. I don't think he's 7 foot. I mean, he could be 7 foot, but I think he's probably about 6'10", 6'11", right? So he has size on him, right? Has a large wingspan, has the height. And I think if you put him next to a Joel Embiid, I think that will probably help the Sixers very, very well. And, Lauri Markkanen was a player who Sixer fans were advocating for the team to trade for last offseason. I mean, I think I also made that case as well because I know what his potential looks like. An all-star caliber player, right? A very, very good player. Super, super underrated, right? And especially if you're playing for the Utah Jazz, a team that's not really doing anything in terms of, competing for a championship. The Utah Jazz are focused on, tanking and getting a ton of draft picks, right? That's what Danny Ainge's goal is, to tank for a draft picks and, build through the draft, which, is a good strategy. But in terms of trying to win a championship is going to take you a longer time, right? But that strategy is good, right? They've racked up a ton of draft picks from trading Donovan Mitchell when they first got Lauri Markkanen. I'm talking about the Utah Jazz. When they first got him, they got a ton of draft picks as well. When they shipped Rudy Gobert to the Minnesota Timberwolves, they racked up a ton of draft picks, right? So they got the assets, and their goal is to build from the draft. So that's good. That is really good. But looking at Lauri Markkanen, I think Lauri Markkanen will be a very, very good fit, alongside Joel Embiid, because his skill set is exactly what Joel Embiid needs, right? Somebody who can stretch the floor, knock down the outside shot, somebody who's a very, very good rebounder, right? And not a very good defender, right? In terms of perimeter defense, he's not really a good defender, but I think he has a lot of potential, and we haven't really seen him on any contending team. So sometimes people kind of like underrate his value, but I think he can be very, very valuable, in my opinion. Any team will take playoff Kevin Durant, no matter the age. I mean, that is true, right? That's absolutely true. But I think also you got to consider certain things, right? You're gonna have to give him an extension, because I think he has like one more season. I mean, one more year on his deal, 1 or 2 more years, right? You're gonna have to give him an extension, and you also have to factor in that he has injury issues. He's older, right? So you're probably not gonna get the same level of play in the playoffs, which is something that I think people should consider when trading for Kevin Durant. But I mean, sometimes it depends on the team that you got, right? And also, we heard that he might get traded to the Knicks, right? I don't know if y'all saw that report, but it's just a bunch of rumors. And like I said, there's a little bit of truth to every rumor. TuneIn Sports says, I don't have no hate. I just don't regret trading Spider for him. I do that trade again and again, but some Cavs fans had obsession for him, just like they did for Jetty Osman. I mean, yeah, I'll make that trade too, but I mean, Evan Mobley he's nice, right? As a power forward, he's nice, defensive anchor, all that. But I think Lauri Markkanen has more potential than Evan Mobley. I mean, I might sound crazy for saying that, but I just think so. I think Evan Mobley is the most overrated player in the NBA. I don't care who disagrees with me. I just think he is. They're probably gonna. I mean, he already won the DPOY. They're probably gonna put him on the fucking All NBA team, which he doesn't deserve, right? But they're still gonna put him there. I don't care, but I think he's overrated in my opinion. I think Lauri Markkanen is a better player than him. But again, probably Evan Mobley is a better fit, because what he brings defensively, right? He's an anchor. Lauri Markkanen is not he's not an anchor. So I get why the Cavs probably traded him away, because of what they do, two different things. So I mean, it is what it is. I still think Lauri's a better player. But yeah, as I was saying, I think if you put him with Tyrese Maxey, if you put Lauri Markkanen with Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid, I think it helps the Sixers significantly in terms of the offense, right? Because you have a stretch four or even a stretch five in certain occasions. He can step out, hit the three. He's also a shot creator in his own right, right? And he can also get on the block and punish some mismatches in the post, right? I've seen him do it multiple times. When we played them 2 seasons ago, or maybe last year, he was doing that to us a lot, right? Taking advantage of those mismatches in the post and just getting those easy buckets, right? So I would say, now I don't agree with trading the number 3 overall pick with Paul George, but if you're gonna make that trade, I would suggest, or I would rather you trade him for a Lauri Markkanen, right? Because he's much younger, right? Much younger. I think he's about 27 or 28 years old, right? He's much younger. He provides everything that the Sixers are looking for in terms of the rebounding, a secondary shot creator, a scorer, outside shooter, right? Adds additional space to the floor when he's playing alongside Joel Embiid. And I think that's what the Sixers need right now. And he can also be he's a good, not a great defender, a good defender. Sometimes, right? Not really consistent as a defender, but he does everything that the Sixers need from a power forward perspective, because the Sixers really need a power forward, right? You really need a power forward and somebody that has, a little bit of size to him. And I think he has a 7-foot wingspan, right? He's 6'9", 6'10", 6'11", and he does everything that you would even want from your power forward, right? And even in years maybe that Embiid is not with the Sixers, when Maxey becomes that guy, right? Lauri Markkanen could be the second option, or I mean, even he could even be the first option if you really think about it. Now, I'm not saying Lauri Markkanen is some superstar, right? I'm not saying he's some superstar. He's not a star caliber player, but I think he has that potential, and it's up to somebody to bring that to get that out of him. That's what I'm saying. Humble says Jetty and Laurie in the same sentence is diabolical. I don't think he's comparing them as players, but he's saying that Cavs fans were crying or were complaining when they traded those two players away. I think that's what he's saying. Cheyenne says Evan Mobley needs to head to the weight room. He is soft in my. Oh my god, y'all with the soft shit. Y'all with the soft shit. Now, I've said this. I said I don't believe that there's any NBA player who's soft. I don't call NBA players soft. Now, yeah, does he got to get his weight up. I'll say that. Absolutely, he got to get his weight up. But I'm not going to say he's soft. Just because he's skinny doesn't mean he's soft. When MJ came in the league, MJ was skinny. But would you call MJ soft? When AI came in the league, AI was skinny. Now, AI never got in the weight room, right? Because he said those weights were too heavy. But you'd be crazy to say that AI was soft because he was skinny. Right now, I'm not saying that you're saying Evan Mobley is soft because he's skinny, but that whole soft tag, I just don't like using that for NBA players. I don't claim no NBA player soft, but in terms of him having to get his weight up, I mean he's in year 4, so and he took a big step this year, right? We got to give it to him in terms of his offensive production, but he still got to get in the weight room, in my opinion. Tune In Sports says Evan Mobley potential was higher, in my opinion, over Lauri Markkanen. He's already achieving more so far. He will take another leap. Now, he's not achieving anything. Like I said, Evan Mobley's the most overrated player in the NBA, and they gave those things to him. He didn't achieve anything. They gave it to him. He didn't deserve any of that. Maybe the All-Star appearance, okay, sure, no problem. But the East had a ton of injuries. So they gave him that All-Star spot. They gave him the DPOY, and they're probably going to give him another All-NBA selection, which I don't think he deserves, but they're still going to give it to him. But does he deserve it? No. And he was playing alongside Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland. So, shit, it's easy to make the All-Star team if you're playing with two great players or two good players, two of the best guards in the NBA. Comparing that to Lauri Markkanen playing with the Utah Jazz, no All-NBA caliber guards on that team, no perennial All-Stars on that team, and he still made the All-Star team. That's more impressive than what Evan Mobley did, in my opinion. MJ got stronger. Mobley will get stronger. He's still young. Yeah, he's still young, but I mean, he's heading into year 5. So in year 5, if you're not starting to develop, getting into the weight room, and I mean, because that's how Giannis, Giannis in year 5, year 4, 5, 6, that's where he started getting in the weight room, and he built himself up. So from now, that's when, Evan Mobley has to, make that leap in terms of, his physical build. Look at Giannis and Anthony Davis. Yeah, that's what I said. He deserves it. Nah, absolutely not. He didn't deserve it. He didn't deserve nothing. That's why my guy, the sporting page, disagrees with me on everything, but he said Evan Mobley didn't deserve anything he got. Now, he didn't say that, but, it is what it is. Defensively, he gets bullied in the paint, especially against the Knicks years ago in the playoffs. That's what I meant. I like Mobley, but he is missing something. Yeah, but Cheyenne, that's a little bit disingenuous though, because that 2 seasons ago, he was in year what? Year 2, year 3? Yeah, that was year 2, Evan Mobley. But you gotta talk about him from now because he's gotten better since year 2, right? He's gotten better. He still anchored the Cavs defense, right, in the regular season, even though it didn't mean shit in the playoffs. But he still anchored that defense. Was in the DPOY conversations. I don't think he deserved it, but he was still in those conversations. So you got to give him that. And I think he definitely got a little stronger since year 2, right? Speaking of him from year 2 is a little bit, it's not fair because he got better since that playoffs against the Knicks, right? And that playoff series, I don't think he got bullied. Jared Allen was the one that got bullied. If you ask me, right? Jared Allen was the one that got bullied, but that's besides the point. But let me focus on Lauri Markkanen potentially on the Sixers, right? So let's say if the Sixers trade for a Lauri Markkanen, right? Potentially the starting lineup is Maxey, the 2 guard that they just got from the trade deadline. I forgot his name, Quentin Grimes, right? Which we're hoping that the Sixers, offer him a contract, right? So if the Sixers keep him, right? So you got Maxey, you got Grimes, and then that's your 3, right? Now that's where the decision comes in. Do you start Justin Edwards or do you start Kelly Oubre? Where I think, either way you go, you can't get it wrong with, because both guys can do the dirty work. Both guys can, shoot the 3, even though Kelly Oubre is a little bit inconsistent with his 3-pointers. I think from the 3-point line, I don't know what he shot, but it was probably below league average, right? Kelly Oubre, his 3-pointers was below league average. But Kelly Oubre gives you everything that you need, right? Doing the dirty work, guarding the other team's best players. He's slow-footed sometimes, but the effort is always there, right? So let's say you start Kelly Oubre, and then you got Lauri Markkanen at your 4, and then Joel Embiid at your 5. I think that's a very, very good starting lineup, in my opinion, especially in the Eastern Conference, right? In the Eastern Conference, that's a very good starting lineup. And then you got other players coming off the bench, right? You got your if Drummond is still going to be on the team, you'll get your Drummond. You'll get your Justin Edwards coming off the bench, right? And then other guards, Jared Butler, coming off the bench. I mean, we don't know the moves that Sixers are going to make this offseason. So it's a little bit tricky. But I think that starting lineup is it's a competent starting 5. And that can definitely, at least that starting lineup is not going to miss the playoffs, right? Even if Joel Embiid doesn't play, I don't think that starting lineup misses the playoffs. Do you agree, DFJ? Any team will take a playoff Kevin Durant? I mean, absolutely. I mean, that's KD. That's 25 a game, right? That's 25 a game. So any team will like to have KD on the unit. But I'm just saying that you got to factor in certain things like the age, the health, or possibly the contract, because you can't just trade for Kevin Durant for trading's sake, right? You got to consider, are you going to be in the second apron? All of those things, right? Because he's on a massive contract. I think he's making like $56 million next season. I could be wrong, but somebody can look that up for me. So those are things that you got to consider. That's what I'm saying. And I'm just saying that me personally, I would rather trade for a Lauri Markkanen than Kevin Durant. Now, even though KD is the best player, Markkanen is a younger player. Markkanen has more potential. Markkanen is showing, he has more potential. He's much younger, not as injury prone, right? And he's exactly what the Sixers need, right? From a power forward perspective or standpoint of view. Now, KD does play the power forward, right? He plays the power forward position, but is he capable of doing the dirty work, especially in year 19? I just don't see it. Right, I don't see it. So I think Lauri Markkanen will be the better fit. Now, I'm not saying that the Sixers should trade the third overall pick. I'm just saying if you're gonna trade the third overall pick, it should be at least for a Lauri Markkanen. But that negotiation is not going to be as easy because Lauri Markkanen is playing for the Utah Jazz, and with the Utah Jazz, we know that one of the toughest people to do business with or have negotiations with is Danny Ainge. Danny Ainge is the dirtiest player in the game, so he's going to try to finesse you out of everything you got, right? For Danny Ainge, maybe Paul George and a third overall pick is not even going to be enough for Danny Ainge, right? It's not even going to be enough for him. So, but yeah, I think Lauri is definitely the better choice. And that trade will make sense for the Utah Jazz more than it will make sense for the Phoenix Suns, because the Utah Jazz are trying to tank. The Utah Jazz are trying to get draft picks. They're trying to build through the draft. And Phoenix is not in that situation. Phoenix is trying to win, right? So if you trade that third overall pick to Phoenix, that means, they're looking to rebuild. That means that you're going to have to move Devin Booker and you're going to have to move Bradley Beal. That means that you're in a full rebuild, which I think the Phoenix Suns should go in that. They should head in that direction, in my opinion, right? Because this experiment has not worked, and I think it would be better to, trade him to the Utah Jazz. But I'm not saying the Sixers should make that trade. I am saying, once again, if you're going to trade that pick, at least it should be for a Lauri Markkanen. That's what I'm saying. I'd rather the Sixers draft Ace Bailey. So, yeah. Let me go through a few of these comments. Salute to my guy, Brian Pumper. Appreciate you. He says, draft Ace Bailey. The fuck going on? Nah, Brian, I'm not saying that they should trade the pick. I'm just saying if you would trade that pick, at least you should trade it for a Lauri Markkanen, because that makes more sense. Now, KD's in year 19, or KD will be in year 19. So if you would trade that pick, it should be for a Lauri Markkanen. But I would rather you draft Ace Bailey and then you go from there. That's what I'm saying. Right? I'm not saying they should trade it, 100% trade that pick. But, I mean, Brian, we got to also, we got to look at Daryl Morey's track record, right? He'll rather go for older players than, draft players. So, but, yeah, I mean, we give Daryl Morey credit, but, sometimes you got to factor that into. Brian Pumper says, Andre, I'm not trading to our ops. Ainge and oh man, yeah, I heard the Brooklyn Nets deal too. Trading the third overall pick for Cam Johnson, which, I mean, Cam Johnson is a good player, but I mean, I'm not trading a third overall pick for a non-all-star. I'm not doing that. At least Lauri Markkanen has showed, his value. He's made the all-star team. Now, his last 2 seasons hasn't been really impressive, right? But if you're considering trading that pick, I think Lauri Markkanen makes more sense, in my opinion. Like I said, right? He gives the Sixers everything they're looking for. And I think a few seasons ago, I don't know, Brian, if you remember, but there was conversations that the Sixers should possibly move either Tobias Harris or whoever we had on the team. There were conversations that we should move some of those players for Lauri Markkanen. Right? So, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Brian Pulver said, Tune It Up Sports, you owe me an apology. Bro, Tune It Sports, yeah, he just showed up. He just popped up out of nowhere because I was about to go look for him at any Poppy store that he was at in Jersey. But, yeah, he just showed up. So, salute the Tune It Sports, man. His favorite players took major losses in this year's playoffs, right? The Choker took a loss to the Thunder in 7 games. So he's still, he's still mourning, he's still crying over that, but the Choker will be fine, bro. He just need a couple beers, he'll be good. Yeah, bro, I saw that report and I was like, y'all can't be serious. Trading the 3rd overall pick for Cam Johnson? Are you serious? But hey, it's the off season, so people are gonna cook up trades, mock drafts or what, mock trades, and so I wasn't even surprised. But I'm not gonna make that move, right? And even with Paul George on the team, like I want to give it a second shot, right? He was injured. Let's see what it looks like next season. If he's still, not panning out to be what the Sixers need, hey, midseason you look to move him. It is what it is. It didn't work out, so you move on, right? Now, speaking of Paul George, I seen that he dropped the episode this year. I mean, this week or today with Gillian Wallow. So I gotta watch that. Right, I gotta go watch that. So, probably after this stream, I'm gonna go see what he said in that interview. Shyam says Choker ain't crying. He ready to go back to Serbia to play with his horses. Now I'm saying that Tune In Sports is crying because the Choker took a loss. That's what I'm saying. But yeah, he said he needs a couple beers. He'll be all right. He'll go to his country. Right, he'll go to his country, play with the horses, like you said, but yeah, I mean, the Joker is gonna do Joker things, bro. It is what it is. Again, moving the goalpost. We're not talking about 2023. We're talking about right now. And what happened right now? He lost in Game 7. Got walked down. Got walked down. And I told niggas that y'all better have that sweet and sour sauce ready. The sweet and sour sauce, sweet heat, barbecue sauce, honey barbecue, honey mustard, sriracha sauce. Like, y'all gotta get the sauces ready. Why? Because them McNuggets was gonna be good. And guess what? They got fried in Game 7. It is what it is. Just get over it, bro. Now I know it's very, very difficult for you to, Donovan Mitchell taking a loss in the second round and the choker taking a loss too. I know it's gonna be difficult for you, but hey, to the sports, it is what it is, bro. Oh man. Shaib says Scab Attack, the only Joker dick right in this class. Yeah, Scab Attack, he loves him some Joker, bro. I don't know. I mean, Joker is a great player. I still think he's the best player in the league, but I think SGA is making a case, and if SGA gets to the NBA Finals and has a dominant performance, in my opinion, I think he's going to be the best player in the league. Right? I'm gonna put him as the best player in the league because Jokic's postseason performance was not. It was good. It was not as great. It's not the best player. It's not best player worthy. He has some great performances, but overall, not really. Got stifled by Zubats, and also got stifled by the Thunder's defense. Humble says this man DFJ knows the sauces. Yeah, told y'all, man. Told y'all to get the sweet and sour sauce ready. The sweet and sour sauce, barbecue sauce, sweet heat, honey mustard. I mean, y'all know the sauces, man. Y'all know the sauces. But yeah, so yeah, Markkanen is who I endorse if the Sixers are gonna move that pick and Paul George, right? If you're moving Paul George, you got to get a younger player. You got to get younger, right? And I think a front court with Kelly Oubre, Lauri Markkanen, and Joel Embiid, that's much better than playing Paul George at the 4, because Paul George doesn't. Excuse me. Paul George doesn't want to play the 4, right? He said that multiple times. He don't want to play the 4, and I keep seeing potential lineups with Paul George, Ace Bailey, and Joel Embiid. That's not a good front court, in my opinion. Not really a good front court, right? You need dirty work guys. You need dirty work guys. You need guys that are going to clean glass. That's what you need. And Paul George, yeah, he's going to play defense on the perimeter for you. But doing dirty work, like diving on the floor to recover a loose ball, rebounding through traffic, he's going to do that in spurts, but he's not going to do that consistently. But I think if you have a Lauri Markkanen, you got a Quentin Grimes and Kelly Oubre, like that's a better fit. Now, if you have Paul George at your 3, and then you can get a dirty working power forward, yeah, that'll definitely help us. But I don't think the Sixers can afford to have Maxey, Paul George, Lauri Markkanen, Joel Embiid. Like, those days are over. You can't have 4 guys making max contracts on your team. You're gonna be way over the second apron, and it's not gonna end well for you. So, yeah, I'm all for Maxey, Grimes, Oubre, Markkanen, and Joel Embiid. Again, because I think I got to emphasize that a lot, because Brian Pumper came in here, and I don't blame him. He came in the middle of the stream, didn't know what was going on, thought that I'm saying that the Sixers should trade that pick. Now, I'm not saying they should trade that pick, but I'm saying if you're going to trade that pick, it should be for Lauri Markkanen, right? So, yeah, that's where I stand with it. So at least you have a you will still have somewhat of a midget backcourt, but your front court is going to be much stronger, with length, a little bit of athleticism. I mean, Lauri Markkanen is not the most athletic, power forward in the league. Yeah, but as a glass cleaner, He can do that as, a stretch four. He can, stretch the floor, knock down shots, and he can also get on the block and, take advantage of mismatches in the post. So yeah, that's where I'm at with it. Humble says DFJ phone jumping. Yeah, I'm getting a ton of notifications, but it is what it is. Did I just hear a mason jar being opened? Nah, bro. Stop playing with me. Stop playing with me, bro. Brian Pumper says, and I'm not drafting a 6'4" Edgecombe, Zaire Edgecombe. Yeah, I don't really know these players like that, bro. Is he a forward? Is he a guard? I don't really know these players like that. Now I know Dylan Harper, Ace Bailey, Cooper Flagg for this year's draft, but Edgecombe is a name that I've heard, the last few days, and I'm hearing, some Sixer fans saying that the Sixers should potentially draft him. So, I don't know what he does, but I got to do my research, man. I got to do my research because the Sixers got the 3rd overall pick, so I have to do the research, see these guys, their strengths and weaknesses, and what they bring to the table, and how it could potentially help the Sixers in the long run. So yeah. He said he averaged 6 rebounds last year. So you're talking about Edgecombe, which 6 rebounds, it's not good. In college, you're coming over to the pros. So yeah, we need guys that are gonna get on the glass, right? So I think that's what the Sixers really need. You don't need no more guards. Yeah, the Sixers don't need no more guards. And is Edgecombe a guard? I don't really know Edgecombe that much. But Ace Bailey is what, 6'7", 6'8". Now Rutgers was they were stat padding his height. They said he was 6'10", but yeah, he's 6'7". But with no shoes, with shoes he probably give him about an inch and a half or maybe 2, but 3 is a little bit of a stretch. Yeah. Edgecombe is nothing special. Ace is way better. Markkanen averaged 18 points and 6 rebounds last year, 33% from the 3. Yeah, those are terrible numbers. But hey, Brian Pumper, you're trying to be nasty right there. That's you being disingenuous right there. Who was he playing with? Because the better players you play with, you have more space to operate with, and you're gonna get more opportunities. If you're playing with Joel Embiid, you're gonna get opportunities, but it also depends on the level at which Joel Embiid is going to be playing at. So I think I have to factor that in too. Is he going to be MVP caliber, or is he going to be a regular center? Now those have to get factored in. So yeah, I think you got to look at both sides of the scale. But yeah, the 18 and 6, yeah, that's a little bit nasty, bro. And the 33%, that's terrible. I'm not going to make excuses for it. Can't give him an excuse. Jazz had like 50 top. Nah, but Brian, they still young players though. They still young players. If you're playing with Maxey, right, that's gonna give Maxey additional spacing, right? Because again, Lauri Markkanen is a threat from the 3-point line, right? So Maxey has more space to operate with. Teams are not gonna try to double team him as much as they did last season, and he's not gonna try to will the Sixers to victory every single time or every single night, because he has somebody on the team that's capable of, giving you 20 a night. I think Markkanen he's capable of giving you 20 a night. He probably did it in the past seasons. He's averaged 23 points in the past before, right? So I think he still has that ability, and he's about 27, 28, so he's only going to get better. Now I know people are going to say, "Oh, you're capping for Markkanen," and I'm not capping for Markkanen. It's just what he's capable of doing, bro. That's just what's yeah. Tuna Sports says, I think Edgecombe is nice. I just don't think that's what you need. Makes no sense. Yeah, I can't even comment on that because I don't know. Is he a guard? Is he a forward? What's his strengths? What's his weaknesses? Like, I don't know. So that's why I'm a little bit not saying anything. DFJ, I got Pistons ending next year with a 3rd seed and Philly right behind them being a 4th seed. Hey, appreciate you, bro. From the 13th seed all the way to the 4th seed. Oh shit. That's a good That's a good turnaround. That's a good turnaround. But yeah, put Lauri Markkanen in a winning situation and he will thrive. Exactly. That right, bro. That's all I'm saying. That is all I'm saying. Right. And I agree with that comment. And that's, coming from Tuning Sports, that's a little, you giving them credit. So I appreciate you for that. Because like I said, you hate Lauri Markkanen. Brian Pumper says, can't have your three best players only play offense. None of the big three plays defense. So if we get Markkanen, that means Paul George is not going to be on the team, right? But like I said, Embiid, we got to factor in like what level is he going to play at? Is he going to be his usual self, regular self? If he's going to be that, then that means he's giving you some level of rim protection, right? Along with Kelly Oubre, and also you got Quentin Grimes, right? Quentin Grimes is not a great defender, but I mean somebody who can, give you somewhat of a resistance against opposing guards. I think Quentin Grimes locks up Darius Garland. Psycho, I'm playing. But those three guys are going to give you something defensively, right? And Maxey, sometimes gives you something defensively in terms of him playing in those, playing in passing lanes, right? Him playing in passing lanes and picking up steals. I think Maxey does that. And then, Justin Edwards coming off the bench, can give you some good defense too. And Markkanen also gives you some level of resistance. He's a good rebounder, right? That's giving you at least something defensively. Now, not from a on-ball defensive standpoint, but, getting rebounds, you're ending the other team's possessions or potentially them getting second chance opportunities by getting offensive rebounds. You're limiting that. So that's also some level of defense, right? Some aspect of defense. Tunin Sports says Pistons 3rd seed and Sixers 4th seed. Humble must know something. Hey, it's not out of the ordinary. So, but I mean, next season I'm not gonna say the team that I have as the 1st seed, but y'all gonna be surprised when I say it. Brian Pumper says Embiid plays fake defense, Austin Reeves type rim protect. Brian Pumper, you can't be serious, bro. Now, yeah, he hasn't been the rim protector that he once was. Like, I think, sometimes when you have good defenders, like great defenders, like good defenders on your team, it kind of like motivates Embiid as well. Because I remember that season when we had Matisse Thybulle, we had Ben Simmons, Danny Green. Like when we had those defenders on the team, it motivated Embiid to be a better rim protector, right? I think that year he made second team all defense, if I'm not mistaken, right? And as good of defenders that those two were, Ben Simmons and Matisse Thybulle, Embiid was cleaning up a lot of their messes at the rim most of those times. Or sometimes his presence alone in the paint, he was altering shots, right? Preventing guards from taking shots when he was around them because they knew that he's that good of a rim protector. So, but yeah, in the recent years, he hasn't been that. And those injuries, the injuries that he has sustained plays a part in it, right? Because he's not able to jump. He doesn't really trust that knee as he probably once did. So you got to factor those in. But that's why I said we got to also factor in the level of player that he's going to be, right? Is he going to be his MVP usual self? Then yeah, you got a very an average or a little bit above average rim protector. But if it was last year, oh nah, hell no. Last year he was just getting blown by guys, was attacking him at the rim, challenging him at the rim, But yeah, that's why I said we got to factor all of those in. But I mean, as of right now, we don't know the level at which he's going to be playing at. I think as of right now, we just got to go with the information that Daryl Morey has given us, right? We haven't seen any footage of Embiid working out. I mean, he just went through surgery a few weeks ago, so he's still recovering. But we just have to go by the information that we get. So, or the information that's given to us by Daryl Morey. Now, Daryl Morey is going to be optimistic. He's not going to tell any lies, and he'll say that he's still a good, probably a good, still a good, or recovering successfully, right? He's not going to give us any setbacks, but yeah, I think we should factor all of those. All of those should be factored in too. Not gonna lie, Maxey will win Most Improved Player next year. Can you win 2 Most Improved Players in a career? I don't think so. I don't think so. Humble says Philly got depth, but I don't know how much I like Nick Nurse. I mean, Nick Nurse is a good coach, in my opinion. I think he's very, very good. He's a championship winning coach. So at least he's something now. Yeah, he's not perfect. He makes a ton of mistakes, sometimes relying on some of these older players, right? So he's not he's subject to errors, right? But let's see what he can do when he has a much better team, like a much younger team, right? Which is something that Daryl Morey said he's going to be focusing on this offseason, trying to get younger and get more experienced players. So if he gets those caliber of players, then we can judge Nick Nurse of how good he really is, right? But I think as a coach, he does good. Now, yeah, playing 4 guards and 1 forward, yeah, that's a little sus, right? I remember that game. He had 4 guards. At one point, he had 4 guards and Paul George as the center, and that was terrible. Where was Philly depth last year? Means nothing if the main guys are not playing, and Nick Nurse is cool. Yeah, TuneIn Sports, I agree with that. Absolutely. Absolutely. But yeah, Lauri Markkanen, if I'm going to keep saying this over and over again, if the Sixers are to trade that 3rd overall pick and trying to get off the Paul George contract, it should be for a Lauri Markkanen. Now, I know, Brian Pumper, you don't agree with it, but I know you're probably one of the ones that wants to get off the Paul George contract. Right? I know you probably want to get off that contract. Now, I don't want to make any assumptions, but that's what I think. Humble says, Humble says, dude, they just getting it together. Last year was a fluke. I don't think last year was a fluke. Last year we got our asses kicked. It is what it is. I'm not gonna make no excuses. I mean, yeah, this year, last year, same difference, bro. Brian Pumper says we need a wing. We played a bartender heavy minutes. Like man, we had Alex Reese in the game. Bro, a lot of Sixer fans were like, bro, who's Reese? Angel Reese is in the league? Like, people was making those jokes, and I was like, bro, y'all funny as hell. But yeah, shout out to Angel Reese, though. Brian Pumper says, I'm cool with Paul George if we draft Ace Bailey. So, okay, so let me ask you this question then. Who's going to play the 4? Because Paul George does not want to play the 4. Because one of those 2 guys got to play the 3. Right? One of those 2 guys got to play the 3. So if you get a wing at the 4 position, I mean, I just don't know how it's going to look like. I don't want to, put myself as a general manager, president of basketball operations. I don't want to put myself in that. He says Ace, he rebounds. But Brian, the college basketball is way different from the NBA. So you rebounding in college, okay, that's cute. But over here, can you rebound through traffic? Can you box these motherfuckers out and get rebound? I don't see him doing that. I don't see a rookie Ace Bailey doing that. Now, I haven't watched this game, but I refuse to believe it. Right? I refuse to believe it. He says Ace can put on muscle, but not in year 1. not in year 1. Now, I don't know what caliber of player Ace is. Like, is he capable of doing the dirty work? Because a 35-year-old Paul George ain't going to be doing no dirty work. He'll do it in spurts, right? He might see a Kelly Oubre or Quentin Grimes or somebody, doing the dirty work. He might get motivated to do it. But he just said on this podcast that sometimes he don't even, what it takes to get through an NBA game or something like. I mean, I don't know what exactly he said. I heard somebody saying it, but sometimes he's not willing to give it 100%. He said that. Hey man, Brian Bumper, you funny as hell, bro. He says put Ace on the Joel Embiid diet. This dude for the puts 20-pound muscle, bro. You funny. I mean, if you let him eat, McDonald's, the double quarter pounder before, 30 minutes before a game, every game. Like if you let him do it, like obviously he can put on the muscle, but is that good muscle? Is that good? That's fat. But yeah, that's why I'm pushing. I mean, that's why I keep saying if you trade the third overall pick, it should be for Lauri Mark. That's what makes sense. Because I think a front court of a Kelly Oubre, Lauri, and Joel Embiid makes much sense. You got size, you got a little bit of defense, right? I mean, Markkanen is not a good defender, but Kelly Oubre along with Joel Embiid's rim protection. Also it depends on what caliber the level at which he's playing at. So yeah, Ace would be development. Yeah, it'll take him a few years to see him blossom to be what he is supposed to be. So, right, I agree with that comment. Humble says, is there any other small free agents you would pick up or just build through the draft? At DFJ Hoops, Brian Pumper. I mean, I don't know what the free agency class is this year. I think the Sixers have a ton of free agents. Right. I think the Sixers have a ton of free agents. So we don't know who's gonna be coming back, who's not returning. I mean, Yabusele Yabu is gonna be a free agent. Quentin Grimes is gonna be a restricted, not unrestricted, but a restricted free agent, right? Other players are also going to be free agents, but I heard that they might be picking up their option seasons because I think Andre Drummond is on next year is going to be optional for him, so he can pick it up. The same goes to Kelly Oubre, so maybe they might pick it up, maybe they might not pick it up. So it all depends. Brian Pumper says maybe get a free agent point guard not named Kyle Lowry. Yeah, Kyle Lowry is done. Lowry is done. And I mean, to be honest, I'm not really worried about Lowry on the team, but my thing is that he should be a third or maybe a fourth, fifth string point guard. Like you cannot rely on him to play backup point guard minutes. Not in year 20. He's done. Right? He's done. Now, if you have him in the Udonis Haslem, I don't see anything wrong with it, right? Because you're not paying him. He's not getting or eating a chunk of your salary cap, right? You're gonna give him the vet minimum, right? So I don't have any issues with it, but you need a competent backup point guard. He should be the oh man, he gotta be the water boy, bro. Y'all funny, but yeah, Lauri Markkanen, that's what I'm going with. Front court of Ace Bailey, Paul George, and Joel Embiid. I think that'd be nasty, bro. That'd be nasty. So yeah. Humble says, I like Kyle. Can't see him anywhere else. Retirement, build a podcast. Yeah, Kyle Lowry is done. He's done. Brian Pumper says, I'll take Russ hard head ass too. Yeah, I think he remains with the Denver Nuggets. He's not moving anywhere else. I mean, if you're Russell Westbrook, why go anywhere else? Is he even a free agent? Will he be a free agent? I don't know what that situation is looking like, but if I'm Russ, I'm not going anywhere else. Denver should be his home. That's where he should remain. If he's not retiring, he should remain with the Denver Nuggets. So, yeah. But Russell Westbrook would definitely – Russ can help any team, right? He can help any team. Russell Westbrook had a good playoff outing in the first round, right? He gave it to the Clippers, right? He had all the motivation in the world against the Clippers. He was great against the Clippers. But against the Thunder, had his moments, right? The defensive intensity on SGA, right? I really applauded that. The game-winning play, which he's not going to get any credit for, but here on DFJ Hoops, he's going to get credit for making that pass to Aaron Gordon in the corner for the game winner, right? But overall, not really good. In Game 7, I think had went 3 straight possessions where he turned the ball over, right? 3 straight empty possessions. That's very, very terrible. Okay, Russell Westbrook has a player option. Yeah, opt in. Opt in. Opt in and just hope the Nuggets can make some moves, can make some good pickups. Right? You need a backup center. You need a microwave scorer off the bench, right? Along with Russell Westbrook and Peyton Watson. I think that's a competent team. And if you're gonna move MPJ for Kevin Durant, oh my goodness, yeah, you back in business, bro. I'll trade Embiid to the Cavs right now for Okoro and Jared Allen. That's cool, but I ain't gonna support that team though. That last name is a player I hate. And if he's on the team, I will wish the Sixers fail. I ain't even gonna lie, bro. I ain't even gonna lie, bro. If Jared Allen is on the Sixers, I will hope the Sixers fail. But yeah, the Quentin Grimes thing. He's a restricted free agent, right? Meaning he can listen to other teams, other offers for other teams. So if a team signs him to a max contract, which I mean it's not realistic, but let's say a team signs him to a max, that means the Sixers will have a choice: either they want to match it or not. But I mean the numbers that he was putting up, I mean shit, a team he was averaging 21 after the All-Star break, or either after the All-Star break or the trade deadline. He was putting up 21. So, maybe a team can look at that and give him the bag. Shit, Denver might give him the bag. Come off the bench, be the microwave scorer that you were in Philly that second half. I mean, why not? Right? So, but yeah, I think the Sixers will have a chance. The Sixers will have a chance either they want to match it or not. So, DFJ, what Philly jersey do you personally own? I got obviously I have a AI jersey, and funny enough, I have an Elton Brand jersey, the red one. I have that one. Um, Recent Sixers, I don't have nobody's jersey. Like recent Sixer players, I don't have anybody's jersey. But I have AI's jersey. I have Aaron McKee's jersey. Aaron McKee was my head coach at Temple University, so I had to get one. I had to get one of those. But shout out to Aaron McKee. But yeah, those are the ones I got. Hell no, bro. I've said this multiple times. I hate Jared Allen. I hate some of these NBA players. I don't like them. Everybody else love DFJ would figure out a way to stop the Sixers season if Allen got bro. I'm gonna be the ultimate troll if they traded for Jared Allen. Hell no. Allen Brand 76ers is disgusting. Yeah, but I mean when we signed him, I mean shit, I had to get one of those jerseys though. Which I still got to this day, but I don't know why. But I have Kyle Korver. Yeah, I think I got a Kyle Korver. Yeah, I might have Kyle Korver. I know I have somebody else, but I don't know who exactly it is. But man, Kyle Korver was hooping for the Sixers. I ain't gonna lie. I mean, not hooping like an all-star caliber, but I mean, nah, y'all should know what I mean. But yeah, he had his moments for the Sixers. Had his moments. Yo, shout out to Kyle Korver, bro. The Sixers got him on draft night. Was it 2003? The same draft as LeBron, and they got him for was it a typewriter and 126 grand, something like that, from the Nets. That was crazy. Aaron McKee, Allen Iverson, real dog. Yeah, bro. And I take it personal when Sixer fans don't really recognize Aaron McKee. Now, not because he was my coach or anything, but he did a lot for the Sixers. Like that run that we had back in 01, like he was guarding the other team's best players. He was guarding the Vince Carters. He was guarding the Ray Allens and Sam Cassells, and he was taking those defensive matchups. He was guarding Kobe. Now, yeah, Kobe destroyed him. It is what it is. Both of them from Philly. Kobe did demolish them, but he still put up a fight. Ray Allen destroyed him, but he still put up a fight. Still gave resistance. So, but I mean, in this era, they're only gonna recognize, the star caliber players, but the role players, they're not gonna recognize as much. So, I get it. But even with Sixer fans, I really want people to recognize who he was to the team. He was six man of the year. Right. He was six man of the year. So he was a very, very good player. A very, very good player. I got a TJ McConnell and Iggy jersey. Oh, TJ McConnell had his moments with the Sixers. Iggy had his moments with the Sixers too. Now, a player who I will never have his jersey was Evan Turner. He's a clown. I would never have that. I would never have that man's jersey. Hell no. Kyle Korver's Cavaliers career was better than the Sixers career. He went to the finals, even though his performance was not that good. He was breaking for chicken. Shout out to my guy, Mike Sports Vibes. But yeah, okay. Well, the Sixers, he was a young player. Oh wow, that is crazy. Oh man. Oh, you never had a Lou Williams jersey? Lou Will. People had his jersey though. He was a fan favorite. He definitely was. But yeah, I'm getting ready to close out. This was a good one. Talking about the report that just came out. Which it's rumors, but there's a little bit of truth to any rumor. If the Sixers are going to make any trades, or even Cam Johnson, but I'm not trading no third overall pick for no Cam Johnson. I ain't doing that. Nobody is doing that too. But if there's going to be a trade, the trade to Utah would probably make more sense. Even though I don't think Paul George will ever play for the Utah Jazz, it's just like Paul George, Russell Westbrook, like those players will never, ever play for the Utah Jazz. But I think it makes sense because Utah wants, draft picks, right? They want draft picks and, they want draft picks, which will probably make sense for them. But, Paul George playing there, I just don't see it. I just don't see it. So, okay. So you racking up them Sixer jerseys then. I think every Sixer fan has an AI jersey. Every Sixer. If you don't have an AI jersey and you a Sixer, you're probably not a real Sixer. Or you probably a young boy or something. But every Sixer fan has an AI jersey. Like if you grew up in the 2000s, yeah, you definitely have one. You can trade PG for Cam Johnson, not the pick. You can trade PG for Cam Johnson and not the pick. It's not worth it. Yeah, but if you're trading PG for Cam Johnson, it should be Cam Johnson and another player because you got to match up the salaries. So Cam Johnson and Cam Thomas. Man, I would piss off Big Fan Breezy with that one. Trading your best players to the Sixers, and not just to the Sixers, to your division rivals. The Nets, they traded Mikal Bridges to the Knicks anyway. So that's not something that they wouldn't do. But the Nets are also looking for draft picks. So I don't think they take Paul George's contract. I don't see it. They want draft picks. Now there's rumors that they might trade for Giannis because Giannis is in trade discussions this offseason. So yeah. Yeah, I don't have an Eric Snow jersey. I gotta get one though. I gotta get one. I talked to Eric Snow. He's on Believe in Sixers and Brian Pumper. I don't know if you listen to them, but he has some good takes on there. But Eric Snow was a good player, right? Played for the Sixers, played for the Cavs. I think he went to the finals with the Cavs in 2007, right? But not a Hall of Fame caliber player, but was a very, very good NBA player for sure. Hey, TuneIn Sports, I'm telling you, bro, that's that's his guy, bro. Cam Thomas is his guy. He ain't trading him for he'll probably. I don't think he'll trade him for Jokic. I don't think so. That's his guy. You feel me? That's his guy. I'll trade the third overall pick for Anthony Edwards. That's it. But shit, bro. Everybody will make that trade, but Minnesota ain't gonna make that fucking trade. I'm not trading you my superstar for no third overall pick. Nah, I'm not doing that. While we're just knocking at the door. I mean, we're in the Western Conference Finals in back-to-back seasons, right? We proved that last year when we got there, it wasn't no fluke, and it wasn't just Karl Anthony Towns. That's why we made it. We made it this year too. So at least we're good enough to potentially get to the finals and win a championship. So we just have to add a couple more pieces. Now I don't trust Julius Randle, even though he's changing. He's played very, very well in this year's playoffs, right? He's changing the narrative. So shout out to Julius Randle, but can you trust him in the Western Conference Finals? Can you trust him in the finals? I just seeing is believing. So I'll put it that way. I heard someone calling him the microwave. Who, Cam Thomas? Bro, Cam Thomas is a bucket. He's a bucket. Like he's capable of averaging 18 points off the bench. If you take the shackles off of him, he can definitely do it. If you take the shackles off, bro, he's a very good scorer. Or should I say a great scorer? I mean, not great. Great is a little bit of a stretch, but he's over good, but just underneath great. He's a very good scorer. Like that's who he is. As a scorer, he has everything. Like as a scorer, I don't think he has any weaknesses. Oh, okay, maybe posting up. But I mean, he's 6'3", so I mean, do 6'3" guards really post up? I mean, other than Jalen Brunson, how many guards post up? That's under 6'3". Not too many, right? But creating off the dribble, shooting, getting to the basket, finishing through contact, getting to the free throw line, he has everything. He's absolutely a microwave scorer. Absolutely. And shit, Houston could use his services coming off the bench. Houston could definitely utilize him. Denver could definitely use him. Right? Denver, Houston. Shit, the Sixers could also use him, in my opinion. The Sixers could absolutely use his services. For sure. He said, we're not drafting. Man, Brian Butler is funny, man. Hey, smash that like button, bro. Smash that like button, man. I'm getting ready to leave, but I'm just going through a few of these comments right here. And then, yeah, be over with. I got Baby Jordan all the way. Oh, Cam Thomas is Baby Jordan? I mean, he's a great scorer, but yeah. I like Cam Thomas as a player. Yeah, as a scorer. Yeah, he didn't he have the record, the youngest player, 40 straight point games, 3 in a row. 40-point games, 3 straight games in a row. He has that record, so he's only getting better from since that season, right? I just think he's dealt with injuries, hamstring injuries, a few injuries along the way, and Brooklyn still got shackles on him. Like if they gave him the freedom, like go out there, go score, like go have fun. Cam Thomas can definitely average 32 points per game, for sure. On the losing team, he can absolutely average 32 points per game. He says Cavs should have kept George Neal. Yeah, but I mean, shit, I still like DeAndre Hunter though. I still like DeAndre Hunter because he gives you more. I mean, he's not really a shooter. He's capable of knocking down open shots. I think George Niang is absolutely a better shooter than him, but Dre Hunter can give you more. He can give you defense, rebounding, and that's not something that Niang gives you. Now I would have kept Karras. No, that's who I would have kept. It didn't make any sense to me why they added him to that package. But I mean, maybe Atlanta asked for Karras. That's why they added him to it. But you don't let Caris LeVert. I mean, you don't trade Caris LeVert. That was terrible. You trade that clown, that bum, the dude with the soccer mom hair. I forgot his name. That's who you trade. That's who you add to the package. Can somebody remind me who had the soccer mom hair on the Cavs? Oh, he says Ant-Man is Baby Jordan. I got Embiid in OKC. I still got OKC going to the finals. They will lock up. I mean, Anthony Edwards will really struggle in this series. Now he's still going to get off, right? But he will absolutely struggle because you're dealing with Lou Dort, you're dealing with Cason Wallace, you're dealing with Jalen Williams, you're dealing with Alex Caruso, you're dealing with all these guard defense. All right, good luck, bro. Good luck. But he's still capable. Like Anthony Edwards got 20 shots guaranteed every single night, so he's going to get his numbers. But they're going to let him work for it. Absolutely. They're gonna let him work for it. So, yo, what's the dude on the Cavs with the soccer mom hair? What's his name? Nah, not Jared Allen. He played for the Miami. I forgot his name, but let me look him up. Hold on. He said, I say Tatum will never be the same Celtic. Won't be hesitant to move on. Are you sure? Because KD came back from his Achilles injury and was still playing at a very, very high level, almost single-handedly eliminated the Milwaukee Bucks in 2021. Now, I'm not saying that Jason Tatum is on the same level as KD. Like, we all know that, but I think Tatum will be fine. I think he'll be fine. Yeah, Max Strus. Yeah, that's who I'm talking about. You don't trade Karis LeVert. You trade George Niang and that bum Max Strus. That's who you trade for DeAndre Hunter and whoever they got in that deal. But trading Karis LeVert, I didn't understand it. But yeah, that bum, that's who you trade. What was he? 1 for 9, 0 for 8. Yeah, that's who you trade. He said you had to trade Karis to make the deal work, and Karis was a headache. Hunter makes up for both those players. I mean that could be true, but I'm just saying. I mean, if you added that bump to that deal, at least you have DeAndre Hunter starting, and then you have Karis LeVert coming off the bench. Yeah, humble. Yeah, I mean, Jason Tatum can still be. Now he's not going to be he's not probably going to be the same player, or but I still think he's going to be very, very effective, very, very important, right? Because we saw KD, his Achilles injury, come back and play at a very, very high level. Damian Lillard, I don't know. JT, but I mean, JT's still young. How old is he? 26, 27, 28? Right? And KD had his injury when he was 31 or 30. Yeah, he was 30. He turned 31 that offseason and came back and was playing at a very, very he averaged 37 points per game against the Bucks. Shit, that's probably the highest point per game average he ever had in the playoffs in his career. Now he did put up 35 on the Cavs, destroyed LeBron and the Cavs in 2017 in the finals. He demolished them, but 38 a game in the playoffs, god damn. Yeah, so tune in sports. I lost respect for you for what you just said right here. He's not no elite shooter, bro. Where was the shots in game 5? I can keep going. Where was those shots in the finals in 2023? Where were the shots at? Where's the shot making ability at? Nowhere to be found. Exactly. He's a bum. And yeah, I said it. Now, yeah, they were the first seed. Cavs were the first seed, but in spite of bum Strus. But yeah, it is what it is. And the Cavs got to move him. If I'm the Cavs, I'm moving. Period. Bro, carrying what? How is Max Strus carrying this series? So what was Donovan Mitchell doing? If Max Strus was carrying that series, what was Donovan Mitchell doing? Tune in sports, you can't be serious, bro. You cannot be this fanned out for no bum ass Max Strus. You can't be serious, bro. You cannot be serious. Now, let me pull up his production in that series. Now, maybe I'm a little bit. But let me see. So 12 points per game. Okay. 7 rebounds. Okay, that's impressive. 3.8 assists. So that's 4. Let me just round that up. 4 points per game. So 39% from the field, 34% from the 3, and 75% from the free throw line. Those are all mid. Now let's go to his game 5 and we put him in the casket. Right. Before the game started, he said, if you don't believe it, don't come to work. Okay, cool. No problem. Max Strus in the elimination game played 26 minutes, 0 for 9 from the field, 0 for 6 from the 3-point line. So here's a question. Where was the shot making ability at? Man, tune in sport. You can't you fanned out, bro. You fanned out. You just don't like the Miami cheat. Yeah, I mean that's facts. I don't like them, but I'm not gonna they still got some good players. Miami got some good players. But you can't tell me he was carrying with 12 points per game. And when the season was on the line, 0 for 9, man, get the fuck out of here, bro. Go on, bro. We not doing yeah. Yeah. We not doing that, bro. You move Max Strus. It is what it is. You get better. You get better. But yeah, I appreciate y'all for tuning in, though. Appreciate y'all. It will be very, very interesting to see what the Sixers, the moves they make this offseason. I am really interested in it. I'm looking forward to it, and I think you guys should as well. But appreciate y'all for tuning in. Salute to my guys, Tune In Sports. Yeah, I should definitely check out Tune In Sports. Cleveland Cavaliers content creator. Now he's been crying these past few days because his team took a loss, got smoked in 5 games, and then his king, the choker, also got smoked in Game 7. So, but we're still waiting for him to make an appearance on his channel. So, be on the look for that. But y'all should definitely check him out. And salute to Brian Pumper too. Sixers faithful. I be seeing him a lot in these Sixers streets. So salute to him. Salute to my guy Humble. Humble, appreciate the heads up last night. Appreciate it. And yeah, salute to Rap Guy Reloaded, my guy One Mike, and everybody else that tuned in to listen to my thoughts. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. I'm gonna catch you guys on the next one. Peace. Smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Peace.